these two aircrafts, Embraer EMB-145, which is a Brazil made, right, AWC type, and there are 3 in the service. By Soviet Union, that is Beirut A50, again of the same category, and quantity is also same. For the purpose of reconnaissance, again there are 3 different kinds of aircrafts are being used. Among them, 2 are made up of USA and 1 is of Israel. So Boeing 707 and Global 5000. Quantities. And third one is of Gulfstream G100, which is of Israel origin, for the purpose of surveillance, and there are 2 such aircrafts in the service of Indian Air Force. Electronic warfare, Gulfstream 3, made by United States. There are 3 in the service. Tanker already we have seen in detail, and this was the part which we were looking into, right? So the helicopter, you can consider. So okay, I hope I'm audible. So the first helicopter which we considered was helicopter, is of Indian origin and used for the purpose of attack. And there are 2 helicopters which are in the service of Indian Air Force. Okay. So one is Boeing 860 or Apache, which is United States. Attack type helicopter, and there are 22 such helicopters which are in the service. And as I said, these are not only for the service of Indian Air Force, but also in Army as well as Navy. So you can consider in all the 3 Armed Force, these helicopters are being used. Next one is Milmi 4, which is of right. So it is of Russian. Again, it is for the purpose of attack, and there are 3 such helicopters are there in the forces. In these 3 we have considered Now, the one is HAL Rudra. So HAL Rudra, you can consider, which is made up of India, what I said only a wrap up kind of thing about HAL light combat helicopter and Boeing H-64 Apache, and then I think Milmi 24. So these three helicopters, some sort of information we have just considered in last session. Now we will be going for the next one, and that is nothing but the HAL Rudra. So as far as HAL Rudra is concerned, as I said, it is made up of India, so HAL Rudra, if you consider, so it is also known as uh, ALH which is an armed version helicopter of say HAL Dhruva. So it is designed and manufactured by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. So Rudra is equipped with the forward-looking infrared as well as thermal imaging sight interface, and it has a current gun, rocket pods, anti-tank guided missile, as well as year-to-year missiles. And because of that, it is of armed category. Right? So you can now understand that. So what HAL Rudra is having? So the features of HAL Rudra, if you consider, so as I said, it is a armed version of HAL Dhruva, which was completely designed and manufactured by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, and it has the features that is by equipping it. So it is equipped with forward-looking infrared and thermal imaging sight interface. That's what you can use to see. Let's say these are the sensors in order to see the external things. There will be a gun, right? Particularly a name called current gun, rocket pods, anti-tank guided missile, as well as year-to-year missiles. So along HAL Rudra is equipped with these 4 different kinds of arms, and because of that, it is of armed type. So there are seen such quantities which are in the service for Indian Armed Forces, and uh, it is completely designed as well as manufactured by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. It is what by India. So its very first flight was made in 2007, but it was introduced in the services by 2012. Right? So it is till date it is giving its services to Indian Armed Forces. Right? So that is what you can consider. So Indian Air Force as well as Indian Army. So both these armed forces are using uh, HAL Rudra. So this is what you can consider in the next one is Ch47 Chinook. Right. Ch47 Chinook. So another helicopter called, in fact, its actual name is Boeing Ch47 Chinook, which is made by United States of America. It is a twin-engined heavy lift helicopter developed by American rotorcraft company and by Boeing, were told. And because of that, its name is Boeing Ch47 Chinook. And because of that, so it is of heavy transport aircraft, heavy transport type of helicopter. So there are 15 such kinds of helicopters in the service of Indian Armed Forces. So it is an American twin engine heavy lift helicopter. It is among the heaviest lifting helicopters, whose name called Chinook is derived from Native American people, particularly called American Chinook people of Washington state. So that is what it's one of the features or the speciality. So basically it is used for the transport, right? Its role is to transport, right? And it was introduced long back in 1962, and until date it is in the services. So if you consider its development, so which was started in 1957, right? So at least now you could have get idea that if any of the aircraft, helicopter, or such kinds of equipment is coming in the services in a particular year, so obviously prior to that 3-4 years at least, it must have started its design. So that is what you can consider, right? So this is what about Chinook. Now if you consider the you can what we say about this particular Ch47 Chinook, right? So heavy transport. Milmi 26. See here, Milmi 24, Milmi 26, right? One more Milmi is there, that is 17. So Milmi 26. Now Milmi 26 is of Russian origin helicopter, which is again used for the purpose of transport, right? So Milmi 26. Now if you consider Milmi 26, as I said, which is of Russian origin, used for the purpose of transport, and there are 3 such kinds of helicopters are in the service of Indian Armed Forces. So in this particular helicopter, which is a Russian heavy transport helicopter, so it was operated by both military as well as civilian operators. It is the largest and most powerful helicopter to if you consider its feature, right? So largest and the powerful helicopter. So it was designed by Moscow helicopter plant, which was started giving its services in 1983. It is being used by so many different countries, right? So for the purpose of the transport. Next one is Milmi 17. Milmi 17. So this Milmi 17 is again of Russian origin, used for utility transport. Now, again, Milmi 17 is a Soviet or Russian military helicopter, let's say, used for transport purpose, right? Though we see here utility, right? So, as well as it is armed with the guns, right? So it has, it's a gunship version helicopter, which is uh, using twin turbine engines. So a transport helicopter equipped with the armed guns, right, made by Soviet Union, who started giving its services in 1977, and till date it is in the service. Right. Again, it is being used by different armed forces. Right. So thousands of productions. So exactly more than 12,000 quantities of this particular helicopter have been built till date, and we are being used worldwide by most of the armed forces. The next one is HAL Dhruva. Dhruva. So if you consider HAL Dhruva, which is uh, made by India, right, for the purpose of say it is of utility category, and you can have 123 quantities in the service. So HAL Dhruva, which is a utility helicopter designed and developed by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. So its development was announced in 1984, and this helicopter uh, first time flew in 1992. Though its development was prolonged because of multiple factors, right? So there had been the requirements of Indian Army for design sanctions placed on the different aspects. For example, in 1998 we had a Pokhran nuclear test. So according to all these things, there had been uh, timely changes, and because of that, many a times any of the design and manufacturing process is delayed, and the same had been happened with the HAL Dhruva. Right? So his name called HAL Dhruva, which was origined by the Sanskrit word called Dhruva. So what is meant by Dhruva? Dhruva is unshakable, right? Or you can consider as much as solid. आपण म्हणतो ना firm, right? So Dhruva is unshakable or firm. Right? So that is what the meaning of the name. Now, if you consider its role, which is a okay, there had been a question that why Milmi was in so many numbers. If you consider, see, basically, if you consider its development era, so it was in 1960s, right? So obviously at that time there had been a very few number of helicopters, and naturally you have a choice for this one. And as a another feature you can consider, that is utility transport. That means what? For any kind of, or you simply in a single word you can call it as multi-role helicopter, right? And because of that, it was being asked by so many armed forces across the globe, and because of that it was most demanded helicopter, right? And that is the reason why it is being manufactured in a huge number, right? So that is what I can uh, tell you in the response of your question. I was talking about HL Dhruva. So as I said, it is a multi-role helicopter and developed by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. So its first flight was, as I said, in 1992. Actually, it started giving its services to Indian Armed Forces in 2002. So till date, it is in the service of Indian Armed Forces. So if you consider again, it was what we can consider. It was being uh, manufactured in a large number. Though here you can see 123 in the services, but more than 300 quantities of HAL Dhruva have been built, but that have been uh, divided, or that have been given to the three different armed forces, right, as far as India is concerned. And but very recently, as I said, in 2015, Indian government started to sell out these equipments, right? Actually, in 2016, very first time, India had brought HL Dhruva to international market. So currently, we are also giving it to the friendly countries, right? So for the purpose of generating a huge revenues by selling these equipments, or these gadgets, you may consider. Now, HL Dhruva is being used by Indian Army. HL Dhruva is being used by Navy, by Air Force, as well as by the Indian Coast Guard. Right. So you can consider, as well as the Border Security Forces. BSF is also using this one, right? And then the Israel, Maldives, Mauritius, Nepal, right? So as I said, the friendly countries, right, to which we have started giving services of this particular helicopter. Right. The next one is HAL Chetak. Basically, these are not Chetak and Chita, right? Though you see the extension as HAL, right, or HAL Chetak and HAL Chita, but here again you can consider. So these are made up of France, India, right? So basically, these are not of Indian origin. So their original base, or basic origin is of France, but they have provided the license to India, right, by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited to develop these aircrafts. So, and by which we can consider that their names have been changed. So basically, okay, it is very difficult to say about the images, but what I can tell you in the response of this question, that these inventions have been have given birth to these helicopters. That is the requirement, that is the need to cope up with the situations. For example, you know, this I think one of the Milmi family, which was being used in the Kargil, the first phase of Kargil war, right? To transport the people, right? To transport the personnel to uh, say different sectors in the uh, Kargil, right? So obviously, need or the requirement was the basis of the invention of these helicopters. No doubt, different helicopters have been designed and manufactured by different aviation companies or the aviation groups or design and manufacturing groups, right? But most of these helicopters have been designed and developed by the military agencies of that particular country. And that is the reason why I have put here the origin. So this origin will tell you, so which country have been developed this particular helicopter, and what was the purpose of developing these helicopters. That is what the type we have considered, right? So these three columns are really important. If you forget these things, right, it doesn't matter. It is not going to affect in any way. But the first three things or first three columns, which are really important as far as utility is concerned or the type of that particular helicopter is concerned, along with its origin. So that will tell you about its invention or say the generation, right? And there is again some aspects which you can take away by this session, right, or from any of the session, that see, everything cannot be expected in a bulk, right? So because already we have seen that how much time is being consumed by the aircrafts, right? If I go to tell you almost all the details, so again it will be a time consuming process. Because of that, I have put all in a single slide, and then I'm just trying to give you some of the overall features, right? So that is what you can consider, right? But my suggestion for you that at your own you can find out some of these details, right? You will be finding out very big uh, documents, right? Which will be giving you all the details or uh, each and every detail about this particular, say, uh, helicopters, or what we can consider the aircrafts or any of the equipment is fine. So yes, we were looking into HAL Chita and HAL Chita, right? Someone said there had been a, okay, another message. See which helicopter is more powerful. There cannot be a specific answer. The reason behind it is everything is always relative, right? Suppose whatever among these 10 helicopters, one is the most powerful, then why you are using remaining 9 helicopters, right? So that is what the reason is. No doubt, relatively one can be superior than another, right? But overall, in all the aspects, one cannot be superior than another, right? Obviously, for some of the aspects, in some of the aspects, one can be superior than any other one, right? So that is what you can consider in this particular category. So that you have to always keep in mind. Okay. Okay. I was talking about HL Chetak. So as far as HAL Chetak is concerned, its original name was not HAL Chetak, right? But the license to manufacture this was given to Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, and further in that license it was accepted that they will be giving it that particular helicopter the name of Indian origin, and that is why we are seeing here HAL Chetak, right? But basically it is called Aerospatial Alloy 3. So that is what the French name, right? So here, that's the reason why you can see who have been manufacturing it, right? No doubt it is being manufactured in India, but its origin is France, India, right? So it's a joint venture. To be more precise, it is known as ESA 316, right? As like here you can see 24, 26, 64, likewise, or 17. Likewise, ESA 316. That was the series name of this particular helicopter. It is a single engine light utility helicopter. So here you can consider the type of this helicopter, which is called light utility helicopter, basically developed by French aircraft company. But during its production life, uh, it is proved to be a relatively popular helicopter because it included multiple, let's say, licensed manufacturers, right? So that is what India is considering it as HAL Chetak. Some other country has given their own names. So France has given the license to manufacture that particular country to manufacture these particular helicopters, and because of that, though the basic structure is same, but you will be finding out different names in different countries, right? So that is what you will be having in this particular say helicopter. It started giving its services in 1960s, and till date it is being uh, used by different armed forces, right? So this is what you can consider. So as far as Indian name is concerned, so as I said, it was built under the license by HAL, right? In India as HAL Chetak instead of ESA 316, right? Uh, Another name I will tell you, as I said, another country, how the different countries are giving or have given different names to this particular helicopter. For example, Romania. So as far as Romania is concerned, uh, Romania is also manufacturing this particular helicopter, and they have given it as a name. They have given the name to this particular helicopter as IAR 316, right? Switzerland is also manufacturing this particular helicopter. They have given it the name as F plus W Yemen. So it depends on, right? That is what in the license. And now you might be having a question, why this has been happened, why the different names, why different countries have given different names to this particular helicopter, and why France have allowed this one. See, France has no business with the name. France has business with earning the revenues, right? And if they can have any of the superior version of this particular class of or this particular series, then why they should be worried, right, with these particular things, right? Whether its name is changed or not. So that is what you can consider. Now, this particular helicopter was used for different missions, right? So that's light utilities. You can consider the missions such as observation, photography, air, sea rescue operations, right, transport, as well as for the purpose of training, right. And another point is that it could be armed with anti-tank missiles, anti-shipping torpedoes, right, or it can be used for civilian transport, right. So these are the different uses which you can always consider as far as this particular helicopter is concerned, and that is what it is in its light utility for any kind of purpose you can use, for the purpose of transport, for the purpose of attack, right. So likewise, right. And light, its weight is light, right. So a lightweight uh, helicopter which can be used at different places, right, or at in different missions. So that is what you have in this particular uh, helicopter. And the last helicopter of this particular, say, section, that is HAL Cheetah, right? HL Cheetah. Now, as far as HL Cheetah is concerned, again, same sort of story is being uh, for the cheetah. So as I said, most of the things are same for this one, right? Again, it is made under the license Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, but its original origin is France. It was manufactured by France as ESA 315. Right? So you can the first series and second series. So 316. So Cheetah and Chetak. Fine. So again, it is a single engine helicopter. So it is developed to meet. I hope I am audible. It is developed to meet the hot and high operational requirements of Indian Armed Forces, which is combining the lighter airframe along with the let's say power plants and the components and the power plants. So it can be used at exceptionally high altitude missions, right? So that is what you can consider hot and high operational requirement of, for example, you consider the part of Siachen. Right? So that is what you can consider. It started giving its services in 1971. So HL had upgraded this particular version, right, which is uh, called Cheetal, right? So Cheetah was the first one, but later on HL had upgraded some of the other features of this one, and because of that, it is also known as Cheetal. So HL Cheetal, and uh, this is what you can consider as armed version. So Cheetah is at light duty, whereas Cheetal, 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 Cheetal. So which is nothing but the armed version, and uh, it was marketed as Lancer, right, which is again produced by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. So that is what consider in the helicopters. So these are the different, let's say, helicopters which are being used by Indian Air Force, right? No doubt, some of these are being used by other armed forces as well as the coastal guards, right? Now, I just put as a kind courtesy to see these. Right? Can see these particular helicopter. It's a light combat helicopter. So what do we call this? India started in 1980s a development and manufacturing plan of light helicopters, right? Under Combat Aircraft Development Program, so LCA program, right? So this is one of the reviews of HA. Communication is lagging. Anyway, we are trying to cope up with that. The review by your chief. Another view of the same. So you can see what sort of structure you can see by this particular of this particular helicopter, right? Another one, Apache 64, right? So H64, right? Obviously, it is being though it was designed by Apache, right? But it was being manufactured by Boeing. So its name is Boeing AH-64 Apache. So you can see another view of AH-64 Apache. Okay, fine. Now, yeah, this is being executing a kind of exercise. So during that particular exercise, it was. Next one is Milmi 24. Right? So you can see here at Milmi 24. Now see what sort of structure is this. So you will be coming to know that, right? So the student who had asked a question, which one is the powerful, right? No doubt, if we decide to say which one is the powerful, we can always come to that particular answer. But that approach is not going to help, because if something is powerful, then why you are using other helicopters or other equipments rather than that only one, right? So it depends, as I said. Because of that, I said it is always relative, right? So in different regions, you require different kinds of structures, different kinds of designs, different kinds of featured equipments. So depending on that, right? So relative. This is what you can consider HL Rudra, right? So obviously it is Indian Army's version, right? So HL Rudra. Boeing Ch47 Chinook, right? So here you can consider the HL, let's say 47 Chinook, right? So again, it is in one of the year show, right? Boeing 47 Chinook, right? So obviously, you can consider it's uh, another view we can have for Indian for, let's say, the sorry, it is not It's not a title. That's the reason I was thinking that about the star, and then okay, it is nothing but the Milmi 26. Right? Let me check. Yeah, it is not Chinook. It is Milmi 26. So Russian version. This is Milmi 17. Right. So I said this was used in the first stage of Kargil war, right? In order to deploy the troops. HL Dhruva, right? HL Dhruva. So HL Rudra, HL Dhruva. Again, it is of army version. Again, this is HL Dhruva, right? But here you can have different color, right? So it is naval version, right? So HL Dhruva of Indian Navy during special operation with Marcos. So this is in one of the exercises, right? So where this is being used by the Marcos. Marcos, kind of commandos of Indian Navy, right? What do you see in this? Don't say HL Dhruva, no doubt it is HL Dhruva. Three, zero, zero, right? So these three helicopters, right? 300th helicopter. So Hindustan Aeronautics Limited rolls out 300 Dhruva advanced light helicopter. So when we have manufactured 300 helicopter, so at that time this has been rolled out, right? So that is what you can consider. Yes, Chinmay, it was 300. HL Chetak, right, whose actual name is, you can consider. Again, this is of the Navy version. Right? In one of the year shows, this is being demonstrating its features. And last one is HL Cheetah. Right. So, which is obviously again another version of SA-315B. Fine. So this is what you have in the helicopters. Right. So that's end. I don't know why it has ended. Okay. Anything would you like to ask or comment on? Except the network connectivity, because it is not in our control. It's a news that it was looking for this one from 2015, right? Perhaps what I can sense, right, or whatever I have read in last 1 year about this particular virus, no doubt there had been some efforts to develop a kind of virus, but in this particular situation, it, there is a great scope to understand something accidentally happened before coming to a certain development, and that is the reason why we are seeing it's spread out, right? That is what you will be considering. Now, if you consider, if in real sense, if any of the country is looking for such kind of war, right, then then you just think that how other countries will be keeping calm, right? And in these days, it is not that much easy. If any of the country is doing such kind of let's say a sort of uh, thing which is troubling each and every humankind across the globe, so obviously the whole world will burn out that particular uh, country, right? So because of that, I'm not ready right now to accept that it was intentional, right? No doubt there had been efforts, that it is for sure, to develop any kind of let's say this particular virus. Otherwise, why not the Chinese vaccines are being accepted by the world, right? So before China, the vaccines have been let's say invented by other countries, right? So if they were trying from 15, so obviously at the same time they must have manufactured the vaccines as well, and that vaccines means the vaccines which will be provided across the world, right? तुम्ही म्हणाल की सर ते तर त्यांचं तसं केलं तर सगळं उघडं होईल, मग त्यांनीच केलं होतं मुद्दाम असं होऊ शकेल. इतकं इंटरनॅशनल लेवल विचार केला तर हे इतकं सोपं नाहीये, राईट? नो डाऊट हेतू असं काहीतरी करण्याचं आहे हे, किंवा होता किंवा ते चालू आहे ह्याच्याबद्दल शंका घ्यायला 100% वाव आहे, बट आय डोंट थिंक सो की हे सगळं इंटेन्शनली झालं असेल. Okay, if nothing else, then we will stop here. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
बात का चिवड़ा 70